So what happened today trading was something that very rarely ever happens to me. It's probably one of the hardest things I've had to do since I started trading, maybe like 3, 4 months ago. Definitely not a veteran, so if you're new to this, you definitely could sympathize. One of the hardest things I see like in the beginning. All right, I definitely want to dive down, just give you some insight onto what's happening in my mind as I learn how to do this and really don't know what I'm doing just yet, but definitely journaling and keeping up with what I am learning. And today was a big day for me. So here we are inside Webull. It's the platform that I'm currently using. If you don't use it and you want to try it out, I love it. There's probably a link down in the description below. They're always giving away stocks or whatever. But the thing that happened today was I did not make any trades. All right, I've been journaling every single day. This is only the fourth trading day of the year that I have not traded. Let's say March 2nd. And that's been very, very hard for me to do. In the past, I've been rushing trades and trying to trade every day and trying to always look for opportunities. And over the last 2 weeks, when I've really started to get some success in this game, I've realized that you don't have to trade every single day. And I almost didn't make a trade earlier in the week, and I'll show you like the past week and what I'm really seeing when I look back and back test in retrospect, and something that you could even do inside your own profile. This is made so much easier because I really only trade the SPY and the NAS, the QQQ. Those are the pretty much the only things that I trade, so I can really, really focus. And looking at the chart today, you might say to yourself, Brad, like, how did you not think that this was a tradable day? It's up 2%. It pretty much moved up the entire day. Like, what's the deal? Well, first and foremost, if you don't know what these supply and demand boxes are, I just made a video explaining like how I draw them, what they really mean. But that's really the thing that has allowed me and given me a more solid plan to not jump into bad trades just because they're, quote, moving in the upward direction. And that's kind of the point that I want to make. I like to make trades after a stock rallies into supply, what's shown in red, and then bounces back in the opposite direction, or rallies down into the green, the demand zone, and then bounces off of it, and I like to take a long position there. This part of the day, early in the day when the markets first opened, we had a nice upward swing. But for me, it started in the middle of my zones, and I'm not really messing around with that like white noise in the middle. And I just don't want to play there. I want to wait for that rally and then play a bounce. So there was really no bounce for me to play. Even though I grew, I actually put this demand zone in intraday. So it was really just coming up. We closed yesterday, it jumped again, and it was moving. And I didn't want to chase, right? It was coming out of a previous demand zone. I did not want to chase it, even though it was moving up. Now, I will say this. When it entered supply around 11:15 in the morning, I was waiting to see a bounce, and if it broke to the downside and pulled back, I would look to play puts on the way back down. But it just never developed. It like hung around inside the supply, and then when it did break out, I thought about making a trade. On this bounce right here, when we came back down and tested supply, on this candle, I was so close. But it was already 1:45, almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The volume was super, super low, which is also very, very important because supply and demand, they just tell us, when we might want to take a trade or where we might want to trade. It doesn't exactly tell us when to jump in. That's really volume and price action. So when it got to here, I saw volume low late in the day. I was like, you want to know what? Whatever this does, it's not going to go up to my next supply zone, which is way above it, way up here. So I might as well just let this day plan out, sit on my hands, and move forward. That's been really, really hard for me to do. And what I'm seeing from the back testing that I was talking about just a second ago is opportunities present themselves more often than not. I'm going to throw in the extended hours here just so we can kind of separate the days a little bit easier. And maybe I'll hop out to a little bit longer time frame. Say, I'll just do 10 minutes, okay? So this was today. And like I said, this demand zone was drawn after the fact. Right here, if I drew them in, it would have been really easy, but it was down here, so it opened in the middle, right? This was all, the darker blue areas are overnight. And then I was waiting for the rally in and then a bounce out. So it's not just the movement in the upward direction we want to trade. We don't just trade red days and we don't just trade on green days. Like, there has to be a bigger plan from what I've seen. If you look the day before, we had an amazing pull into supply and a pullback down into demand, which was down in this area here. Yesterday was a great day for trading. About the same movement, like, right, we see the same horizontal and vertical movement, But this was coming out of a zone and working towards another one, where this was starting in the middle and entering a zone. That didn't really work for me. The same was really true the day before that. So today's Wednesday. This would be Tuesday. Today's Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Monday, we kind of started in the middle. I did not really make a trade, but when I saw this bounce, kind of what I wanted to happen today, right? I was waiting for that confirmation to bounce down in this direction like we did on Monday, because I took puts on this day. Once we left supply, I took puts from here down to about here. I got out. It was actually a really good trade, but it did what I wanted this trade to do. I sat on my hands the whole Monday morning, especially after a weekend. I'm super pumped. I really want to get in. You can't let emotion and excitement force you into trades. I was watching this and we see, look at this little setup here. Almost a similar setup. If we would have got that break, I would have been glad to take puts on the side. It just never, ever developed. Here was Friday. Friday was a great rally. Okay, we started in the overnight, right in demand, pulled out of demand. Once again, I was able to take this trade long because it was exiting a supplier demand and it was working towards the opposite supplier demand. So I guess really when we see today was no good because it started in the middle. Down here, we had a good trading day. Here, we had a pretty good trading day. And here, we had a good trading day. So 3 of the last 4 days, 75% of themselves were really, really good trade days. Here's another good trade day. This was an old supply zone. I delete them over time, but this was a break out of demand towards the end of the day. If you're sticking around towards the end of the day, you were able to make this trade pretty much after lunch on the way back up. Don't be afraid to sit on your hands, guys. Opportunities like this will present themselves in other days to follow, okay? You will have opportunities throughout the week. It's okay. If you would have forced trades here, if you would have opened up today and you would have forced, maybe you saw these 2 candles and you thought we were going to go short, you could have lost a boat ton of money. And if you would have bought in here, Theta would have just ate you alive as this thing virtually traded sideways for the rest of the day, guys. Don't be afraid to sit on your hands. Don't be excited to trade. It's okay to take a day off and you'll get them on the next one. There'll always be another trading day tomorrow. I hope that adds some value. If it did, guys, new channel, give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.